What is up, Craig?
It's on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's on you, it's on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Woo!
Happy Monday. When we're
Happy
recording,
Monday.
we're getting out of the way early in the week. It seems like
Yeah.
we skip this day, which is often an opportunity, and then the week gets away from us. But we are doing it
Yeah.
today. I know you have
'Cause we're
plans later in the
responsible.
week. Yeah. So we had to
wanna
get it
give
done.
the people what they want.
That's exactly
more
right.
podcast content.
More podcast content. And this is episode 219 of Podcast versus Everyone. I'm Craig Powers. With me as usual is Jeff Newser. And Jeff, I kind of the bit honestly, I don't know what we would have had too much to talk about this week, but Apple Cup tickets went on sale to CAF and season ticket holder.
Yeah.
CAF members and season ticket holders this morning at 9.
Yeah.
And man, did WSU hype it up. Color the
Color
City
Seattle Crimson.
Color clear Seattle Crimson,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Which honestly, like a lot of people already live there. It's like not that
Yes.
okay.
I wear crimson
Um,
about 4 days a week, maybe more.
So a lot of us, we got at 9. I had kind of forgotten about it. Then someone dropped. Holy crap, the prices! So I go and look. Cheapest ticket, retail, baseline ticket, $94 for the upper corner of Lumen Field. $94. If you want to be
Yes.
in the lower bowl, I think it's at least 250, 300.
Yeah, I mean it's something like that.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Like
Okay, so I've got the chart in front of me. Now, part of the issue also is that there are apparently like
200
18 different price levels. This is one of the more insane
yes, it's
like pricing maps
it's-
I've ever seen in my life.
all the different colors.
Yes.
We have blue club, teal club, pink club, charter 50, charter 40, charter 30, charter 20. Apparently, like every yard line needs a different
Yes.
price.
Yep.
Orange, navy blue, yellow, light blue, and then
Dark
you
gray,
also have
light gray.
dark gray and light gray,
And just
purple.
to add insult to injury, the cheapest section is the purple section.
yeah. So
Yeah.
So if you're going,
Thanks,
if you're
assholes.
a Coug and you want to get in for the lowest price, you got to buy the purple tickets.
Yeah. And it looks like, so, I mean, as I'm looking at this map, so as I'm looking down, like at the charter A, charter B, all those areas down there, those don't even appear to be on sale yet. I don't know. Or maybe that's what those, maybe that's the charter 50, charter 40. I don't know. It says charter A, charter B. But anyway, like regardless, I'm just like, what in the actual hell? Your blue club, which is your club seats at the 50, 40 yard line ish. Those are $424. And now I'm assuming that's before fees as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are another, $30 worth of fees tacked on top of that.
No, if it's through WSU, usually not. Like if it's directly through
Okay.
WSU, like it's usually like five or $10.
Okay, so maybe but I mean, that's if you're buying does that go for bowl games as well? Because that's how this is being treated, right? Like, does that go for bowl games as well, or is that just for games that you buy at Martin Stadium?
I don't know. I usually go in with someone with a higher CAF ranking,
Okay.
hi Katie, and
Okay.
and
Hi, Katie.
she buys the tickets, and then I pay
Yeah.
it back. So I don't actually know what
Well-
the original price was versus the fees and all that.
And that's, I mean, I'm just assuming Lumen Field is also going to have a facility fee on top of that, just because that's how
Yes.
these things roll
Yep.
now. And the seats are, you can't buy your seat. Basically, you're like a bowl game, you're putting in for tickets
Mhm.
in a section, right?
Yeah,
But
so you
like,
don't
I mean,
really
I'm looking at these. It's like, okay, so the cheapest seats, 94 plus whatever, right? And those are, the worst seats. They're in the corners in the end zone.
High.
And yeah, and up high, right? And so, okay, so those are terrible seats. Now, the funny thing is, I'm sure somebody thought these are going to be our budget seats because they are $35 less than the next pricing tier. So
Yeah.
like when you hop over from section, 316 to 315 or whatever, it's like $35 more per seat. Okay. So like this is somebody somewhere thought that $94 a seat was going to be the budget option, right? Cause there's not $35, I don't think, between any of the other tiers. And so I'm just like, okay, so there's that. And then like I said, 424 at the top and everything in between, right? So ranging from, and basically they go up anywhere between like $11 and $25 between these tiers as you go up. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out who they're selling to at these different price points, right? Like who's the audience here? I mean, so I am a guy with a family of 5 who was thinking about taking his family to this game. And I am not thinking about taking my family to this game anymore. I thought maybe they might have some, reasonably cheap seats at like maybe $60-$70 a piece, something like that. But, and I mean, if you're thinking, well, what's the big difference between 60 and 94? Well, that's $35 a ticket at times 5, right? Like that's a lot. It's $165. That's a big difference. So, and then you've got your premium seats at $424 piece. Let's say they're like $450 with fees.
You're paying, you're paying $100 a ticket for just like you're up there, and you're way up there, and at these prices, I you might be up there, and there might not be that many people below you, because
it's wild. Like I said, the high end. Like who all is paying $450 a ticket to sit in the club section? And like the club seats are nice and they do get you access to the club, but like you and I have sat in that section before for various events. Like it's not that great. Like I'm trying to figure out who they think is going to pay.
The club room is not like it. You might have like a few shorter lines. But it's not
shorter lines for beer, shorter lines to go to the bathroom.
I would say the experience difference is not nearly as high as like when you go in the club at the Mariners.
Yeah,
like that experience
is pretty minimal.
The Terrace Club to the other seats is a pretty big difference. But the Seahawks and the Sounders and the Rain, like the club doesn't feel that much different than the rest of the stadium.
No, and you're still standing in lines for beer. Like you're not, it's not like you get up there and you're going, oh, like I'm just going to walk right up and buy a beer. No, you're still standing in lines. It's just, I mean, I guess you're in standing in line in a nicer place. Like
there's carpet.
I don't know, man. What I've said today is people who price these things are way savvier at making money than I am. I mean, I'm a school teacher with a dumb podcast, whatever. Right. But I'm trying to think like where they think the demand is for these price points. And I know that Twitter's not reality. I know that I don't speak for all fans, but I just don't see it. Like, I don't see who it is who's coming to gobble up these tickets at these prices.
And I've seen a lot of people, like myself, who spend a lot of money to go to WSU football games. Yeah. And everyone, like, multiple people have been like, well, I mean, honestly, part of it is too, like, a lot of us just didn't want this game to happen. And I know that
Yes.
that is very much like a Twitter circle thing. I think there's probably more people outside of our circles that wanted the Apple Cup to continue because I don't know, because it's the only freaking Wazoo football game that they ever paid attention to.
But do they want to pay these kinds of prices? to
Yeah, that's what I'm
actually go
thinking.
to the
Like,
game?
are they gonna,
Or are
yeah.
these people that are just, they sit at home with their friends and yay, like they wanted the game to continue in concept, but they're not killing themselves to pay these kinds of prices, any prices, to go to the game.
So yeah, like, and I had one reply on Twitter where it was a UW fan that says they look cheaper than Husky Stadium prices, and I'm like, no, like not their retail prices. They're not cheaper.
No.
UW offers $200 season tickets, same as WSU. They're not going to discount a ticket that's $100 down to $33 a game. Those it's just like WSU. It's like a no donation requirement ticket.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just doesn't.
I was going to put it.
They're probably thinking
one more way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying they're probably thinking, yeah, last year tickets to the Apple Cup and tickets to all the UW games were super expensive because they were on this like crazy undefeated run,
right?
And it was sold out. And the StubHub, they're thinking
Right.
StubHub, they're thinking secondary
Right.
prices. Yeah,
Right.
that was crazy. But all the season ticket holders and all that, they don't, I mean, let's be honest, like if you are a season ticket holder, if you totally count in the donation requirements, you do pay a crazy amount for your games. But that's
Yes.
but you don't feel it as much because you're like, okay, like this is the donation and the tickets are whatever. But there still exists this part, like most of the stadium at WSU, a lot of the stadium, the donation requirement is either $50 a ticket or $0, so it doesn't really add that much.
Yeah.
And so like, but for me, like this was just like I'll let you get to your point first before we get.
Well, I was going to say another point of context is Jeff O'Neill, our friend Jeff O'Neill, who posted a good screenshot of the different price points. He said that his Seahawks tickets are less expensive than the Apple Cup tickets in the same spot. And then I went and looked closer. My dad's tickets that I used to share with him, same deal there. It looks like the tickets that we have are probably in that light blue section, $157 a ticket. That's not how much Seahawks tickets cost in that seat. I don't know what they are now because I haven't paid for them.
I think these
I would
are
imagine
probably,
it's like $125 or so.
Yeah, I think this is probably priced. Where they got the prices, I'm guessing it's priced pretty similarly to the single game ticket prices at a Seahawks game.
Could be, except you can't really buy single tickets in all these different spots, but
you could buy buy them in the corner. You could buy them in the corners often, and it is around like $90.
Yeah.
I think but I do think this is probably a little more, which is wild to me. Like I know it's the Apple Cup, but I
guess that's what they're banking on, right?
Yeah, but
like everybody going, it's the Apple Cup. They're treating it like a bowl game.
Do they not realize what would happen last year? Like,
no,
shit has lost some luster, just a little bit of luster. Like a not insignificant portion of both fan bases were like, "Fuck, we don't need to play this game anymore."
Yep,
and
for different reasons.
For different reasons, like we're just like, "Fuck that, we don't want to play them anymore." I had convinced myself that I would go to this game just because, I'll just hang. You'll go to Flat Stick. There'll be some big Coug party there. We'll hang out with a bunch of Cougs. We'll tailgate with Cougs, whatever. But now it's just like, I don't know. Like I'll wait and I have a feeling that the secondary market is going to be just fine on this, and I'll get a secondary ticket or they're going to have to offer up some deals because I just don't think it's going to sell out at these prices. I cannot see it. Even UW fans, like UW fans, they took a beating this offseason. And plus, like, what's the what's the appeal to them? They have a bigger stadium 5 miles up the road that
Right.
that is their actual home stadium. So what's the appeal to like go downtown to the Seahawks stadium, which is like older than their stadium? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
I mean, tell
see,
me.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, tell me what you think about this. Like I've kind of got this theory in my head, and maybe this is just me or whatever. But like when I buy, so like, okay, so you and I share Sounders tickets, right? And so I've kind of got this like idea in my head. Okay, my Sounders ticket costs this much, right, for a whole season. When you start layering new things or different things or additional things on top of that, it's like, right? So like you and I were looking at the Leagues Cup games, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, we can opt in or we can opt out, right? And I don't know, 1 or 2 of the Leagues Cup games already included. Great. Okay, so if they advance, do you want to opt into the pay as you go? And we both just went, nah, like we're good. We don't need that. And if they do make it, then I mean, and for some reason get excited, I'm sure we can buy single tickets if we really want to go, right? And it's like, okay, so now you've got 2 sets of fans that already pay for season tickets, and then and for WSU, a non-zero number of those people are living over here where we live, right? And so it's like you've already spent a certain amount on your tickets, right? And then now it's like, oh, this game that was always included as part of your package for at least one of the sides, right, is now not included. And not only that, the get-in price to go to this game at Husky Stadium, if you were a Coug, was not $450 or even $200, right? It was like, I don't know what it is now, but
Well, last year it was expensive because a lot of unless if you didn't buy like from WSU,
right. That's what I'm saying. So if you bought from, how much were they if you bought from WSU?
So if you bought from WSU, and it was actually a price that UW was charging, it was like over $100 for the visitor tickets,
right? Which is comparable to the least expensive ticket in this game.
And at that you're going as a visitor, like you expect to like sit somewhere bad and whatever.
Right.
Like, but this is like it's supposed to like neutral site game. Like any. It also it's weird that I hope like in doing this like bowl game style thing, they're just it's going to be all the Husky fans are behind UW and all the Coug fans are behind WSU.
Yeah, I mean I hope so, but like the map doesn't. The map doesn't suggest.
Doesn't say that
they're gonna do that. I don't know.
I mean,
I would imagine
I feel
they
like they
probably will. If you're submitting requests, I mean that's what they're doing here. They're taking requests, right? So like, essentially, you submit requests like a bowl game, and then they'll dole out the tickets. So I would assume that means they're gonna kind of maybe go, Coug fans behind the Cougar bench first. But
so if you look
I don't know.
you see the student and band sections. So they have them separated by basically the ECS section at Sounders games.
Yeah.
But are they literally going to have the UW students are on one side and the WSU students, and it's only like 3 sections in between them?
Beats me, man.
That'll be that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Now that might actually be fun.
That might be. That might actually be.
Maybe not fun for crowd control, but
No. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't get it. You're going to be telling people they got to spend. I mean, let's say you're not getting the club seats, right? You just want to get another reasonably decent seat. So like where you and I sit for Sounders games is not a terrible place to sit.
214.
That would be 214. That would be the navy blue section. That's a $200 ticket.
Yep.
Right. So if you're in the lower bowl, the least you are spending is they have a yellow
You
section
can get those
for $183.
Yep.
So that's the cheapest ticket. Lower bowl section, $183, either the what we call the ECS section, right? Down on the Brougham end, or those like corner lower spots down underneath the Hawk's Nest. So that's $183. If you want to be in the lower bowl, $183 is your cheapest ticket. That's your lowest price ticket.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
So so on the one hand, I'm like, obviously the prices seem absurd and I'm just going to choose not to spend my money on that. Like I could afford to go, but I'm not, I don't think that price point is worth it to me to attend as someone who was already predisposed to not go. Like, I don't know, like if this generates maximum payout for WSU, then I guess great. I don't know. I mean, I didn't want to play the game at all anyway. But I guess like I'd be curious to know. So we threw this out, or I threw this out on the Slack, but we didn't seem to get really a definite answer. I'm curious as to whether there's a prearranged agreed payout or whether it's a percentage of sales. So I'm curious kind of how that works out, because it would make a little more sense if there was a sort of already negotiated payout and then whoever was promoting the game had to, recoup money and this is what they thought they could get, versus if it's just, a percentage of ticket sales. I don't know. I don't know what you think about that or what.
I tend to.
There's not really a question.
Just based on this, I do tend to. I tend to agree with your point that it could be like whoever first and goal or whoever is trying to recoup their payout here. But I'm sure. But so the payout must include like when they talked about like $3 million. I think Chun before he left, he said it was like $3 million each for the game, is what he expected. So that must include selling the game to a network, and then as well as the ticket sales, and I don't know if concessions count or not, but yeah, it's a bummer. Like I don't like it's such a high price that just like there's a lot of fans that really care that are just going to be like, fuck that. Like, I don't like, I'm not going to pay that much, especially because, like I talked about, like, we were talking with like Rick in our premium Slack. He's like, yeah, they have $200 Cougs season tickets. And I looked and UW has $200 Cougs season or UW season tickets. Like, and most of these price points are more than that.
Yes.
And if you're talking
almost
about
all of them.
Yeah. I've definitely, what I got the vibe from our various groups is this killed any like excitement, and there wasn't much, but it killed any sort of like last hope of a lot of people actually who didn't really want to go to the game. Like you're like, oh, I got to pay like over $100 a person to go to the game. Well, just to sit in like the shittiest seat. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
BA had this idea of like, we could just like tailgate outside the stadium anyway. And
then just not go in.
Just not go in.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just go and we'll hang out and we'll party and then let's go watch the game at Flat Stick. I mean, think of how much beer I could buy for the price of that ticket. I mean, we could have a lot of beer, and a lot of pizza.
Think about the Cougs lager we could consume.
Hell yeah. 20-ounce pours too for you and me.
For that $500 plus dollars you were going to spend on bringing your kids. Man, that's a lot of Cougs lager. It's a lot.
Yeah. Just and all of that money goes to the collective. I don't have to split it with UW. So
yeah, exactly. Well, and some of it goes to Flat Stick, which is cool.
Well, yes, but I mean, it wastes another Cougs own business. That's what I'm saying, though. Like this all goes to good places if I drink that beer. It doesn't all go to good places if I go buy a ticket to this game. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So,
So official podcast versus everyone. Opinion of these prices.
Yes. Position.
Fuck
they
that.
suck. Thumbs down. fuck that. These are terrible.
I did do a thumbs down when I blew the raspberry, so we're on the same
It was
page.
good job.
Maybe we
I
gotta start
did-
doing the
it was-
video, Jeff.
Yeah, the football. Yeah, that's it. We need to start live streaming this, and so that we can give it the whole thing. It was funny on Twitter. The football account posted something about painting Seattle crimson, and I was just like, I just can't resist. I actually replied to that account, which is the dumbest thing ever. But I replied to the account and was like, not at those prices, you're not like, But I mean, obviously,
I know. Are you going to paint
no.
it blue or teal or pink or orange
I
or
don't
maybe
know, man.
blue or yellow or
Yeah.
light blue?
the poor intern who sent that tweet, like, they don't have any, they don't have any influence.
They probably didn't even know what the prices were going to be. They're like,
Probably
"Oh, make all this
not. Probably
content."
not. Yeah, they were just
And
like, I'm just
and
supposed
all
to make
day it's
this.
just
I don't know.
people
Somebody just
like,
told me to
"You
make
see
the
these fucking
content.
prices? You see these prices?
Yeah, it's. I think the other thing
What do you
that
What do you
sort
think of the? Okay, go ahead. I'll,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the other thing that just sort of like stuck out to me a little bit was that people weren't really mad. Like they just were like, I'll pass. Like,
Yeah, like
if there's anything,
it was
that
more of
sort
a laugh. You're like,
demonstrates-
"Ha, yeah,
yes,
right."
everybody just went, yeah, no, not doing that. Sorry. And it wasn't even like, oh my God, I'm so like thirsty for this game and I'm so mad that they're putting these prices here. It's not that at all. Like people, again, Twitter's not real. It's not the real world. It's not everything. Our circle of friends is not everything. I mean, I look, all of that. We are different people. We are weirdos. We have a different level of engagement with all of this than most people. But all of that said, I mean, I didn't find even one person who had a reaction other than, holy shit, that's a lot. And either A, yeah, I'm not going at that price, or B, like, maybe I'll still go. I think it'll still be fun.
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
know.
even
but like
even the
nobody was
people-
mad,
Yeah, even the people that were defending it, I guess, like we're like, well, here's the reason it's in an NFL stadium, and so I could see the point that Emma brought up to in one of our chats is that the playing in the NFL stadium is cool for the players.
Sure.
But and she said maybe it'd be cool. She's never been to a Seahawks game. It'd be cool to see a football game. But it's like in Seahawks Stadium, NFL Stadium. It's weird to me because like it just I have like Seahawks, like Lumen Field has no prestige for me in any way. Like
No.
it's probably because I've just been there so much, but even more so for you
Yeah.
because you had
Yeah.
Seahawks season tickets for so long. There's
Yeah.
just no prestige attached to it, and for a
Well-
lot of Cougs fans, there's not because there
Yeah.
was the Seattle game for over
Yeah,
for
for
roughly
years.
a decade, over a decade. And so
Which
we've
ended with
seen
a
a bunch
wet
of people-
fart.
Yeah, and you
against
dub
Oregon
played
State.
you dub played an entire season there, or was it two?
Yeah.
I don't.
Well,
Was it when they
I
were
think some of it
rebuilding
too.
Husky Stadium?
Yeah, well, they were rebuilding Husky Stadium. Football stadiums just don't have a lot of charm just by their nature, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's not like baseball.
you go across the street to you go across the street to T-Mobile Park and it's like this gorgeous, like beautiful facility filled with personality. It truly is. As much as I fucking despise that organization, like it's a great place to spend an afternoon. Like it's just super fun. It's chill. It's a beautiful, like the setting is gorgeous. Like it's a great place to hang out and watch a game. And I just think football stadiums by their nature are not. Like I was just talking with my dad tonight. He just went down to Las Vegas this past weekend to go watch the Rolling Stones at the new Allegiant Stadium, right? I went to that Allegiant Stadium in August to watch Dortmund play against Manchester United. And it's like, okay, on the outside, like, I don't know how many people if you haven't seen what it looks like on the outside, look up some pictures. Like, it's like fucking crazy what this thing looks like. And it looks unbelievable, incredible, whatever. And you get inside and it's like, okay, it kind of feels like, if anybody's been to Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, it kind of feels like a oversized version of that, kind of the way the concourses are set up. But then once you get to your seat, it's like, it's a fucking football stadium. Like they all like there aren't that many that are different. Like I guess Husky Stadium is one of them, right? Like that is a pretty different, the setting, the way the stands are set up. It's a pretty different experience. But NFL stadiums, I mean, those things are fucking generic, man. Like they all are like this to some degree or another. And it's like, there's no real personality about that stadium other than the Seahawks branding being, fucking everywhere, which is my own pet peeve with, as being a Sounders fan. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe there is something to that. What Emma said, I don't see it, but again, it's, you mentioned, I mean, you and I have been there, 1,000 times or whatever. So maybe I'm being colored by that, experience.
And there's still like a lot of value for like the students, or like, it's a big rivalry. And I remember the Apple Cup was such a big deal when I was a student. Like it was just the biggest deal.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, I think it was still a big deal. And then we lost 9 in a row or whatever. And then I just didn't.
That made it tough to care.
Yeah. Then it got tough to care. And, I still care about it. And it's still, but now it's just like, after what has happened.
Yeah.
This isn't the game it used to be. This isn't the game it was 6 months ago. Like it just
exactly.
isn't. And that, but they're selling it like it is. They're selling it like it's even bigger than it was.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. So I said to BA Brian Anderson, we were texting a little bit, and I was like, I actually could see these prices if they had spent a year not playing this game. And then they brought it back, and it was like big fanfare. Hey, the game is back. And we're all like, woo, yeah. And we're excited. Maybe. Again, the prices here are like a bowl game, right? So like they are treating it like this really massive one-off game that everyone is going to like kill themselves to get into. And it's, I think they have misread. I think they have misread the demand for this game. Like, honestly, I don't know how they came up with the prices, but I don't know.
We sat in club seats on like the 25 at the Alamo Bowl, and they were like $150.
Yeah.
So these ones would be $250, basically. And that was in fairness, that was 6 years ago, and everything's inflated quite a bit since then. Especially ticket prices. But yeah, like I have a feeling like I could see snagging a $70 ticket on StubHub at some point, or a like lower bowl ticket for like $130 somewhere.
Yeah.
And in
order to get those, somebody will have had to buy these tickets.
Well, that's what I'm hoping that
right.
I'm hoping that the ticket buyers that buy them to sell are getting are going to get in on some of this. Also, I would not be surprised if there are some deals later. Just to get.
I kind of half joked on Twitter that I was waiting for the Groupon, because the Groupons were that was how you got like great tickets to the Seattle game.
Back
in the day.
Groupon. I dude, don't rule it out. And White River Amphitheater, if you go to a concert there, and it's like, look, before you buy the regular tickets, just go on Groupon and make sure that they're not selling $20 tickets to that concert. Oh yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, the worst thing that could happen here is the place could be, only like 2/3 full, right? Yeah. So they'll do whatever they can.
Because that never happened. That has never happened at this game. Like, this game has never been played. It's always been played in front of a full stadium.
Nope. But there's going to come a point where they're selling individual tickets, and you're going to be able to see that there are seats everywhere. Yep. Like, that is going to happen. Like, you're going to click on the map, and you're going to see seats all over the place. And Well, I've been to some concerts like that. I've been to some concerts like that, like a Climate Pledge, but all they do at that point is they just take all of us, cheapskates up in the upper deck, and they just move us down to lowers. That happened to Black Keys. They just moved us down, and they're like, here, you want some better seats? We're like, hell yeah. And so they moved us down to some great seats below, but they're not going to do that for this. Like, and even if you do that, like, you can't Like you're going to lose. That's the thing here. You're like, because it's college football, you lose something when it's not full. Like if there's anything we learned, I mean, hopefully learned many things during COVID, but from a sports perspective, one of the biggest things was that the crowd is part of the production. Like it's not a game on TV without an in-studio audience. That's basically what it is. Right. And that's what the crowd is. And if you've got no crowd or a subdued crowd, it's not the same. And man, the worst thing they could do here is price it such that there's, empty seats everywhere. And man, I don't know, man, it is tough to see how they're not going to have empty seats everywhere, because if they do offer deals, they're not offering deals on the $450 tickets, right? They're offering deals. They're going to offer deals up above, to try and fill that in.
Up above. But I think the $94 tickets will sell because people will just buy the cheapest one. Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, those seats aren't that bad. If you're not up at the top, they're not too bad. Yeah,
because that's usually what happens when the premium seats are priced so much higher. Like it's you'll see like those cheap. I'll see that at concerts a lot, especially ones where the GA is expensive, and then like you'll see people buy up the high level, the high seats before they buy the actual better seats, is because they're like half as much or a third as much. So I could see those, because there's really not that many of the $94 seats. It's not that many. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess, it's I don't know. Like,
I mean, it looks like it's okay. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, it's like 16 sections.
Okay. Yeah. This is quite a few.
It's basically everything in the corners, upper deck in the corners.
Yeah, it's just
that's it.
That brings it back to the parsing of it is so nuts. Like,
yes,
it like you could just sell $94 everything but like the 40 to 40 in the upper bowl. It'd have been like fine.
Yes,
like you didn't need to like segment that out 4 times.
Yeah,
like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, the hyper segmented pricing. Have you ever seen anything like this at an event? I cannot
They've been
recall
getting
it.
crazier and crazier, but it's usually not like, I've never seen it laid out like this. Because if you go to if you go buy tickets for a Climate Pledge concert, if you're hovering over the seats, you'll notice like, oh, like this row's 170 and this row's 190. Like it's like, so there is that segmentation, but And never seen it laid out in a color-coded map like this before. It's so silly.
Yeah, it is funny. We've got light blue, navy blue, dark gray, light gray, charter 20, charter 30, charter 40, charter 50, pink club, teal club, blue club. Crazy, man. It's insane.
Just in the map,
right.
The color-coded map looks so funny.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I guess we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Maybe
we'll revisit this
like,
when the single tickets go on sale.
Maybe it's gonna be the hottest ticket in town.
It's possible. Like I said, the people who make money on this stuff are way better at making money than I am. So I'm sure they know what they're doing. I don't see it. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So,
all right, let's talk about sports. We're talking about money. Talking about sports. The basketball team, the men's basketball team, added a player. Well, I'll say the women's team has added some nice recruits recently. They're still recruiting well internationally. That's good to see. I expect them to be still pretty solid in WCC, be one of the probably top 2 teams in that league. So that'll be cool. But the men's team, obviously, we'd love to see them be top 2. But right now, as it stands, they're going to need to add some people. They added someone today, ND Okafor, a transfer from Cal, which is, technically transferring from a higher league at this point.
God damn it. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, it's a down transfer, y'all. So one thing I said is like I would hope we get some like just to get some athleticism and stuff and size. And Okafor's got that. He's 6'9", 235. Definitely has that like high major size, but his production in 2 years at Cal, 1 year he was injured. Last year he was injured for most of it, but still wasn't really playing that much before he got injured. Was left something to be desired, especially when it came to finishing around the basket, because he is not like you could just tell dude hasn't shot a three at all. He shot 124 shots as a collegian and has not taken a three yet. So
yes,
this is an interior focused player, and he shot 43% on twos his freshman year, and very small sample, 7 of 18, 39% last year. So that does not scream like this isn't a big offensive addition, I would say. Now the block rates are good. So what Riley has not really added much yet of his defense. And this, if you want to give the spin this in the nicest manner, is what he was looking for here, is a rim protector.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're not in a vacuum, right? Like what you're doing is you're taking, if we look at the roster as it existed before Okafor committed, you're not real deep in terms of like high major athletes, right? Like that's the one sort of thing that maybe you're missing. And so you add this guy, you clearly a high major athlete, like he was a pretty well thought of recruit. Like you like all of those things. So in terms of, maybe a flyer that you take, yeah, like, you're betting on a guy who, played 2 years ago for Mark Fox, and that guy is a horrendous coach. And then he's with Mark Madsen now. Like you said, he wasn't contributing a ton before he got hurt. It's for me, it's maybe a little tough to say whether that, is an indictment of him or maybe a bit of a reflection of sort of the personnel that they recruited who, were playing in their front court. So, I don't know that for sure. And so like, if I'm thinking like, yeah, you're taking a flyer on a guy who potentially has, I mean, again, everything is, whatever in college basketball with transfers, but, potentially would have, 3 years of eligibility, maybe even a couple if you, maybe has like 2 good years and then moves along or whatever. But it's like, not a bad flyer to take when you're dealing with a guy who, is pretty clearly, I think, a high major athlete. Great. But we're not in a vacuum, right? Like we need impact guys. And we just, again, we've talked about this, so we don't need to completely rehash it, but the guys you're getting from EWU, not huge, massive impact guys outside of maybe like Cedric Coward, right? Who has not, he's still out there. Like just kind of like rumors indicate, if he doesn't stay in the NBA draft, he's coming to WSU, but we don't know that for sure yet. And also that's, it's one guy, right? You need like, 2 or 3 Cedric Cowards, in order to really make this thing fly. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Okafor's fine. Like he's fine. And I don't, I try not to, I don't want to be like a huge Debbie Downer, but he's fine.
It took us from, on Bart Torvik's preseason projection, it took us from 114 to 112. Yeah. So not exactly a massive impact.
Yeah.
But hey,
I mean, essentially because he was a nothing offensive player, like at Cal, like, and that's kind of the biggest issue is he's got he's got to develop some kind of offensive game. And the way that, the Eastern offense that Riley's bringing to Pullman, I mean, you can't have a guy on the floor who can do nothing. You got to have a guy, he's got to be able to do something. So I don't know.
Yeah. At this point, I've said it, I said it last time, I think, like the players that you bring in to finish out this roster have to be the best player. If you're going to be a team that it gets us back to like the Kyle Smith level of NIT contending for the tournament, maybe if things go right, the players that you bring in to fill out this roster have to be the best players. Like they're going to have to be your best players.
Yep.
And so, obviously Coward would fit that. Coward would come in and be the best player. Interestingly, if you added him and you added another guy they've been rumored, Khalil Brantley, like it brought him to like the 70s on Torvik. Coward brings them to 90. So like you need a couple, like you said, 2-3 Cedric Coward level players to add to this roster if you're going to be actually sniffing at-large contention or even sniffing NIT. Like, or unless these guys are just to come up and like improve like hell. But yeah, that you can't always rely. You need some insurance somewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what you're hoping. I hope for WSU's sake that Coward does come to WSU and that they can add someone else. But yeah, but speaking of the draft, there are now 2 Wazoo players participating in the NBA Combine, and someone asked me if that's ever happened before. And given that I do not think the NBA Combine is that old, like I would say probably not.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Unless Powell and Gay were both there, but I don't think they were.
I don't remember Powell being there.
All right. If you keep talking, I'll look.
Well, I was already looking. How do you even combine results? Here, the list of participants. Where's that? Here we go.
Yeah, let's see. I do
Washington.
not see their 2 names combined. I don't see their 2 names showing up with Combine. Last year's draft Combine, Mo was there, Powell was not.
Okay, Mo was there, and that's it. That was it.
Yep. So there we go.
And there was not another year where that would have happened.
No, I mean I can't. I can't imagine another year where that would have happened. So
Flowers didn't go in 2022.
Even if he did, I don't know who would have been with him.
FA.
Did FA go to the Combine? I don't think he did.
I would say seriously doubt it. I don't know.
Anyway, point is, this is crazy. This is special. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. And yeah, they both were late ads. Someone mentioned they probably needed guys to actually play to pick up the games. But I think they both have the potential. Neither one were Flowers or FA were in the Combine in 2022.
Okay.
But yeah, they're both such unique players that were so under the radar before the season in terms of the NBA. And then they really had to prove themselves throughout the year against high major players, and they both did. I think, I could see them both really raising their stock. Jalen Wells is projected in, I think, a few places as like a second-round pick. Which, if he's not going to come back to Wazoo, that was, get drafted. It paid me to see him get a big bag, which is, there's There are bags
Yes.
available, as we have seen. UW
Oh my God.
handing a guy $2
Yeah.
million.
I mean,
today.
yeah, I was gonna say let's take a quick little timeout detour and say that UW just added a transfer from Utah State for a reported $2 million. That was, they had to pay $2 million just to get a guy to follow the coach from Utah State to Washington. And I'm sure that number is somewhat I don't know, incentive laden or something. I have a hard time believing it's just, $2 million. Here you go. But at the same time, I think it does show once you get to this point in the process, teams are desperate and there's money out there, for guys like that. And Jalen, I'm sure, has people, waving money all over the place. Hopefully maybe this is buying some
Jeff,
time for
his name is
us to
Rick,
get that
so-
legendary. Yeah, that's true. Hopefully this will buy us some time to sell some legendary lager and throw a bag at Jalen.
Yeah.
Come on,
Give us that
drink.
legendary lager.
Yeah. I hope he gets drafted or comes back. So, please don't go to, I don't know, Kentucky or something.
Yeah. Don't go there.
No.
If he stays in and gets drafted, the Kentucky fans who just assume that he's going to play for them will just be so sad. That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, so basketball players, I hopefully, some of this stuff is going to, in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be more kind of, we'll know more and more. We'll probably see another guy or two get added to the roster, so we'll just keep following that. But yeah, Jeff, just talk about the basketball roster these days. It always drives me to drink. So, Jeff, what are you drinking right now?
I am drinking In Circles IPA by Structures Brewing, well-known brewer on the podcast. It's a New England hazy IPA, which of course are, pretty played out at this point.
Jeff,
but
can we do that? Say Structures again? I'll see if you get it from the old ESPN days. You say where was it? What brewery was it again?
Structures
from
Brewing.
From
Bellingham,
Bellingham, Washington. Come on. Do you not remember the?
I think it's from Bellingham.
NFL, was it NFL Countdown or NFL?
Yes. Yeah. And they would enthusiastically say, okay, so let's try it again. Structures Brewing
From
Bellingham. Is that better?
Boom. Thank you.
Boom. Yeah, it's delicious. As far as as we've talked about a lot, the hazy IPAs are pretty played out for the most part, but this one's actually got a really nice little bit of bitterness to it, which it's not overly insanely citrusy. It's a very delicious hazy IPA, very pleasant to drink, and happy I got it. It's good. I know Structures makes great beers, so that's why I grabbed it.
Yes, that is
About
usually that's how I buy it these days. Yeah, Structures is great.
By the way,
so
your hops are Citra, Galaxy, and Azaka or Azaka. In case you're wondering. Yeah. Anyway, what about you, man?
So I am one of the. I've turned into a little bit of a hazy hater.
Yes.
But I was big on the hazy hype train when, back in 2015, 2016 when it was blowing up. And then I was a big hazy drinker for a while. But back when it was blowing up, really early stages, I was still living in the Northeast, and they're called New England IPAs is the original name for hazy IPA. Some people will say that there's a different thing, whatever. But New England IPA, if you ever see someone write NE IPA, that's what that means. and there's WC IPA, West Coast IPA, which is a different thing. But two of the big brewers from Massachusetts that were huge in like bringing about this like hazy IPA, New England IPA or hazy IPA craze were Treehouse, and then out in Western Mass, and then Trillium in Boston. And Trillium was a brewery that I would definitely like seek out whenever I could if I was visiting the Northeast or visiting Boston or if friends had it, traded for it, whatever. Because their hazies were always just something better than we like as the brewers out here were trying to figure out how to basically copy them. They were just always so much better. And Trillium this week, for the first time, is actually distributed through Stoop Distributing. Stoop has brought in some really cool breweries before. It's the same that basically they built a distributing company to distribute their own beer so they can have control over it. And then they've also been distributing other breweries' beers. So they've been bringing in some cool out-of-market beers, and one of the breweries is Trillium. And they got a drop this week. What they're famous for is their hazies, and every beer I saw that dropped was a hazy IPA or a hazy double IPA. Every single one. And it's funny that they just say double IPA. A lot of out here, like breweries will say if it's hazy because, you might, so other people might be looking for a West Coast, but they just say double IPA. If it's from Trillium, the go-to is a really fucking hazy beer. And if you look at my what I sent in Slack, it is a very, very fucking hazy beer. And this is what like the Treehouse and Trillium ones were so big on that like haze and the mouthfeel and stuff. And this is definitely delivering. This what I'm drinking is one of their kind of like classic, very famous brands is Big Bird. It's a big ass double IPA, 8.5% double IPA. But man, it just drinks so well. Like it's exactly what you're thinking about a hazy. Like it's not boozy, it's smooth, it's fruity, like pineapple and different like tropical notes to it. It's not it's not very bitter, but there's enough to like to balance the sweetness of the 8.5%. So it's not overly sweet. It's got that great like mouthfeel that people go, like kind of cloudy, mouthfeel that people are going for, the real softness that people like. It's such well done. Like, and I've had a bunch of these this week as I went to Peaks and Pints and was able to grab, I grabbed every brand that they were. I think there was like 6 different, or there was 5 different IPAs that they had, and I grabbed 2 of each, and so I was so excited. I knew they were hazies, but like this is like a beer nerd, almost what's the word now? Nostalgia a bit. Like to be like, oh, I remember when I really, really cared about this. Like I literally went into my basement and I knew, I was like, I'm pretty sure I have a Trillium glass somewhere, and I found a Trillium glass in my basement because I knew I had one, and so I've been drinking out of this Trillium glass all weekend, and it's very exciting. That I don't know if it's going to be a repeated thing, if Stoop's going to continually bring them in. Like Stoop brought in Hill Farmstead for like a one-time drop once. I don't know if this is the same thing or if they're going to regularly bring them in, but if you have a chance to track them down, especially if you like hazy IPAs, really check out the Trilliums. They're so good. They're kind of one of the OGs of the New England style IPA game. They're one of the OGs that helped establish the style as a New England style IPA. And I've just been revisiting them this week, and they absolutely deliver. It's funny, when I went out there, I went out to Boston last year about this time to go to the Finch concert. And I went to Trillium, but I didn't even have a hazy IPA. I had like lagers while I was there, and they were good. They were good lagers. They have. I was going to say,
I noticed the framing on your picture. Like you got the Finch CD in there just so right behind the beer. Nice,
But yeah.
nice composition.
But I've been to, if you go to Boston, they have like several locations. A lot of them, especially if you're in the summer, just like beautiful locations, really cool spots. So I would definitely check them out if you're over out there. But yeah, you could get their beer and really good brewery, really fun. That Stu brought them in. Really just, it's been a fun week for a lot of like beer nerds. Like, oh yeah, like Trillium's here. And then but it's seriously like, I thought it was just going to be like gone immediately at Peaks of Pints. But I think they got a significant amount. And then also like it was pretty expensive. Like, and then, but like for a can, like it was like $7.50 for the single IPAs and like $8.50, $9.50 for the double IPA cans. So pretty expensive.
Oof.
But
Yeah.
but I was just I was like I gotta catch them all, Pokemon. But I just I thought they were just gonna go. So I was like, oh, Peaks is probably just getting a little bit, and then it's gonna be gone. And so I just like rolled in there like the day after it dropped, and I saw that they had one on draft. I was like, sick. And then I heard a guy being like, oh, how often? I heard one of the bartenders say to one of the guys like about the prices, like, well, how often do you get to have Trillium? And so I went over to the cooler. There was a ton there. I was like so excited. It was very fun on Friday. I just needed to get out of the house. So I was very excited. And so I got some work done at Peaks, had a nice Trillium. And that was a good time. But yeah, so very exciting stuff. Trillium Brewing. There was a select few bars in the greater Seattle area. I know Rainier Growler's got Trillium. In Tacoma, I know Peaks and Pints, and Pint Defiance at least got the packaged beer. Bottle Works just dropped it today, I think, and then like some of the other big brands and big beer outlets and like Chuck's and stuff got it. So check it out if you like, especially if you like hazy IPAs. Like this is like one of the OGs. What all the breweries that were making them in 2016, 2017 were just trying to copy and not doing a super great job of. So I was pretty hyped on that. Hopefully soon, at some point, we'll have Coug Lager to drink in this segment, and that will be the best fucking beer segment of all time. We might just have to do that one right up front.
I agree.
Yeah, Jeff. So quickly, baseball over the weekend. I wish I was prepared. I'm not. They had played USC and had some exciting results. One being on Friday, of course, a 20-8 win. But then they paid that back by losing 9-4 and 10-3 over the rest of the weekend, which is that's how the season has gone.
Yeah, baseball's great.
What's left is 3 with Oregon. I seriously doubt that we are qualifying for the Pac-12 tournament unless they changed it to include everyone.
I don't know if they do or not.
I don't. They haven't. We've never played in it. I don't think.
I mean, it's only recently been resurrected.
Since they brought it back, I don't think we've played in it.
Yeah,
because we haven't been high enough in the standings to do so.
Yeah.
It's 9 teams. 9 teams? That's a weird amount of teams.
That would be weird. All right, hold on.
There's more than 9 teams in the league, right?
There are. Oh my gosh, this is loading so slow.
Yeah, so they invite 9 teams.
Yeah,
and I guess we've never finished.
They do invite 9 teams.
To make it.
There's pool play and then semifinals and championship.
Yeah, so I seriously, unless the standings are very different than what I imagine, we are not in 9th place because we are 9.
We are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we will not be participating
place. In the last Pac-12.
Unless, we got this weekend against 3rd place Oregon
that we haven't talked about. baseball that much.
I know.
Yeah,
It was, before that series against Washington,
I guess that
we
technically
were in pretty decent shape.
1, 2, 12, 11, 10. Technically, still have a chance.
Yeah.
If they win all 3 this weekend, and Stanford, I don't know what the tiebreakers would be. Let's just say if Stanford loses all 3, and
Well, we're only
UW
one game back of
loses
Washington.
2 out of 3. I think
we only need
then
to pass one of
WSU
them.
could qualify for the tournament. So that's all. That's all you got to do.
That's it.
Is beat Oregon, who's
Washington
pretty good.
plays Cal. We should
No
root for
worries.
Cal.
Just gotta sweep them, and then hope everyone else loses their games, and then you're in the tournament. Yay!
No big deal. Easy.
Okay. Jeffrey's still there. Did I put you to sleep?
I'm here. No, I'm still here. Did you lose me?
I can't hear you.
I am definitely here.
Okay, I just started being able to hear you. I don't know what's going on there. But I'm sure they could
well,
hear
now
you.
you got me.
I'm sure they could hear you. I don't know what was going
Yeah.
on.
That's all right.
Yeah. But anyway, so hey, we have a premium subscription. You should subscribe to the newsletter for free, but you can also do a premium subscription. Podcastversuseveryone.com. It's reasonably priced, $50 for a year, $5 for a month. You get access to a really fun premium chat with lots of Cougs, lots of hot goss, all the good stuff. Especially if you're very interested in how the basketball roster is coming together. Lots to talk on that. If you're interested in talking about the Mariners with other Cougs, lots to talk on that. But yeah, all the sports really. Track and field, a lot of people talking about that. All sorts of stuff. It's a good time. Lots of fun Cougs. Also, we've had
It is a
some
good time.
premium only content, a couple premium only audio pieces, a 15, 20 minute podcasts that we've dropped in there. And then also 2 amazing breakdowns of David Riley's offense from Bryce Henricks. So yeah, if you know him from Coug Center, you know he's very good at that. And they are excellent. And yeah, so do that. Subscribe. It's lots of fun. And of course, we love it. We can bring on cool people like Bryce Henricks to do content with us. And that these subscription money enables us to do that. It's super fun. Yeah. So, Jeff, I guess if you don't have anything else to add there, I say go fucking Cougs.
Go fucking Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated and
support a union.